Hello students of Second Secondary Basic. In this opportunity we are going to learn WH words as subject or object. Okay, let's start. Please pay attention in order you understand the grammar. Okay, so now we are going to see the WH words. So maybe when, maybe where, who, why, and what. Alright? Those are the WH words that we use for ask some questions. For example, we have some questions like this. When, where, who, why, what, and how many. Alright? Here we have what is the reason or what is the relation. Okay, for example, when we are going to relate with a place, with a thing, no, time, date, and day, yes. So that's what we are going to relate to. Okay, so we continue with where, that its relation with place. Who, with a person. Okay, when we are going to start our questions, WH word with who, we talk about persons or people. Okay, so continue with why, that it's a reason. Okay, when we want to know what is the reason of something, we use why. So what, the most times we use for things. All right, and how many for the amount of things. All right, but those are the WH questions words. So here we have a question for the world. So here we have some questions. All right, we are going to try to complete with WH words. Okay, for example, all are you. What WH word do you complete in this part? Do you remember? What is the question in order to answer about your age? Yes. So, it's about the age, right? So, number 2, do you come from? So, these questions, it's related to the place. So, come from. And is your birthday, it's relation about a celebration, okay? A date. So, time is it, please? So we are going to talk about a thing maybe, all right? Do you live with? We talk about people. And are you crying? It's talk about a reason, okay? So now here we are going to see our answers, okay? So how old are you? Where do you come from? When is your birthday? What time is it, please? Who do you live with? And why are you crying? All right? So those questions we are going to use the WH words, okay? It's necessary in the first part, okay? So those are the questions as we know, all right? As we familiar as, okay, students? So here we continue with WH word as an object. Means what is it? It's the normal questions, okay? As you know, all right? So, when these interrogative pronouns are the objective of the sentences, we use what, where, who, when, okay? So we must use the auxiliaries. For example, did, do, and does also. Okay? So it's necessary that you are going to use the auxiliaries. For example, where do you live? So you use the auxiliary. It's necessary for the normal questions, as you know. Okay? So when did you finish your school, for example? You use did in order for simple past. And who does he go out with? It's necessary that you are going to use does in order to say that this is simple present, and we talk about the third person, he. Okay? So now we continue. When you ask an object questions, you know who is the person is, and you get more information. Okay? So this is very important because you are going to ask the questions, but what do you need? What do you have? Okay? You need more information. Okay? For example, where does Tom live? So you need extra information. Okay? So you want to know where does Tom live? Maybe Miraflores, maybe Comas, all right? So you need extra information. Okay? Now we are going to compare with other things. So here we continue with the structure. The structure of this WH word is WH word, maybe what, who, where, plus auxiliary. For example, did, do, or does, plus the subject. Okay, maybe he, maybe she, maybe I, plus the bear. Okay, plus the bear. All right. So, for example, what do you eat? So, you are going to ask the questions because you need more information. Okay? So, in this case, the extra information is the hamburger. Okay? The hamburger is an extra information. All right. So now we continue with the WH word as subject. So when WH word like what and who are the subject of the sentences, remember. So in this part, we have the questions, but we don't need more information. We need the subject. Okay, let's see. So for example, we don't use auxiliaries. So you don't use auxiliary did, do, or maybe does. So no, all right? We don't use. We mustn't use auxiliaries. Okay, for example, where do you live? No, this is not a subject question. All right, you are going to eliminate do, so that is the auxiliary. Okay, so remembered, no auxiliaries for as a subject. So it's not necessary to invert the subject and the verb. For example, you don't put, for example, the auxiliaries here. Who does? And you don't have a subject here. In the questions, you don't have a subject. Okay? You want to know the subject. Okay? So who lives here? Okay, you don't invert subject and verb. It's not necessary because you are going to use verbs. Okay, and remember with the verbs, it's that you, in the case of simple present, you are going to add s in verbs in present. Okay, so who lives here is a question that we need subject. Okay, we are going to look for subject. So also, for example, if we talk in the past, so we are going to make our questions, subject question, in who lived there. Okay? So remember that lived is right verb in past. Okay, so we are going to need subject. Okay, this is a question in order to need a subject. Who lives there? Okay, all right, so here we have a table with a difference between subject and object questions. So for example, object question. So when you ask an object questions, you know who the person is and would like to get some information extra about them. Okay, for example, where does Tom live? Where did he go to school? Who does he live with? Is he going to work here? All right, this is the normal questions, object questions. And we talk about with subject questions. So we are going to don't know who has done something and would like to find out. So you ask a subject question. Okay, for example, who lives here? Who went to this school? Who lives with Tom? Who is going to work here? Okay, for example, here we have an extra example. Who studies English? So this question, it's talking about a subject. So we are going to know who is the person that studies English. Maybe you? No, right? Okay, so in this case, not. This is the picture. Okay, who studies English? So a subject, the person. Okay, so these questions, it is about the subject, this person. All right, who studies English? Martin. Okay, here. All right, so now let's practice, and you write S for subject or O for object. Who travels by bus? Okay, here we have a bus. Who travels by bus? So the questions need extra information or need the subject? What do you think? Okay, let's check. Yes, it's a subject questions. Who travels by bus? Don't have auxiliaries. It's a subject question. Okay, let's practice. Number 2. So write S for subject or O for object. So where does she go for vacation? So what is this question is with auxiliary? Yes, here there is the auxiliary. So it's not the subject questions, it's an object questions, right? Yes. So now here we have another example. So what did they buy? So you are going to recognize. If it is a subject, there isn't as auxiliaries. But here there is auxiliary, miss. Yes, because this is an object question. Okay? You are going to recognize very easily if you follow the steps. Okay? So now let's practice. Who bought the motorcycle? This is a simple past tense sentence. So, but we have the auxiliaries? No, we don't have those auxiliaries. So it's an object question. Okay? So now it's your turn. What did you eat? So circle the correct answer. Subject questions or object questions? Okay, think. 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's check the correct question. And object questions, of course, because we have the auxiliary. Okay, so now we continue with the second question. So, who ate this breakfast? So 3 seconds to think about it. Subject questions or object? Okay, so we are going to see. Yes, this is a subject question because we don't have those auxiliaries. Okay, thank you so much, guys. See you later.